All right, all right. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. We're gonna count down. It's your main man, her shine on Dr. Life of her Dr. Life mark. Asking you, do you have pro cash flow? Do you have pro cash flow? Especially you millennials. Do you have pro cash flow? And if not, why not? You was given a blueprint. Purple and gold is the color of royalty. You was given a blueprint 97. So the millennials, if you don't have pro cash flow, that means your parents in Generation X don't have pro cash flow. Because if, like us in Generation X, your parents took back full ownership of your destiny, good parents leave wealth to their children and their children's children. So the millennial generation, which is the Y generation, if we're X, the millennials are Y. And then the Z generation, and we got children in both X and Y. I mean, Y and Z. So what generation are we working on? The grandchildren are the very first generation. That's why they're talking about a reset. They've gone through all 26 generations. And they want to go right back to the beginning, put a monopoly on this cash flow, lock you into the 26 generations of poverty again, 26 generations of colonialism, and you got the opportunity right now in your generation to determine that the next 26 generations, if the world's still around, will never go through what the 26 generations before you. There's only 26 letters in the alphabet. If my generation is Generation X, my oldest two children are the millennial generation, Generation Y. And my bottom two children are Gen Z, Generation Z. So what comes after Generation Z? First fruits, the alpha. So my youngest two are the Omega generation. The Omega generation. Z in the Greek alphabet is Omega, right? So we are raising, the millennial is the Y generation, and the Z generation is the Omega generation. Now listen to me, men. Listen to me, men. When you combine X and Y, you get a man. My generation is Generation X. My oldest son, Xavier, his generation is Generation Y. In order to have a man, a baby that's a man, we have to have an X and Y chromosome. If you have two X, the baby will be a woman and have a womb. The X and X chromosome produces a woman with a womb. The X and Y chromosome produce a man with the organ to plant seed. That is not by chance. That don't have nothing to do with feelings. That has to do with procreation. Everything that we got, that we do, has to do with procreation. In our mother's womb, the creator called the pro by name. And when he called a pro by name out of 5 billion sperm cells, he's expecting a pro return on his investment. He called your number specifically so that you could come and get in this game. He had 5 billion, 6 billion, 7 billion other options. And he called. And people want to run around here talk about, I don't feel like it ain't got nothing to do with no feeling. He looked out at his team on Earth and he said, I need another man to step in and be a future husbandman down the line to create pro cash flow. He looked down here and he said, I need another woman of the birthright to bring forth a supernatural king. I need another woman that could bring forth a supernatural king like Moses, part Red Sea. And out of 6, do y'all know how many sperm cells in the womb? With each and every union of a man and a woman and the release, there's billions of sperm cells. So the child that comes forth has been supernaturally selected to play pro in a supernatural Super Bowl. Ain't no chance, ain't no arbitrary, ain't no mistakes. And if you come out and you're an amateur, if you come out and you get fooled with ignorance, your cash flow gonna match your ignorance. Your lifestyle gonna match your ignorance. That's wisdom. To see what the world needs out of a draft of 6 billion different people. God looked down God looked down into 6 billion different beings that he could have selected, and he called each and every being to come go pro. What y'all people do in y'all lifestyles ain't got nothing to do with God. It got everything to do with fumbling. The king is calling your name and your number, and y'all won't prepare. The king is calling your name and your number to put points on the board, and y'all won't even prepare to dominate. Y'all won't even prepare to dominate. So, talking to these young people, tell y'all something. You better look around at this world and you better understand that you are the wealth. That's all I want. Pro cash flow is once you realize I'm the heir, I am the treasure, then being pro and procreation is speaking into existence what your offspring, just like the creator called you by name, to play a specific role on his team so that the team overall could win. You're supposed to look out at the crop of women if you're a man. You're supposed to look out at the crop of men if you're a woman. I'm talking about teenagers, 16, 17, 18. And you're supposed to be able to see in order for me to put this team together to be able to fill the role that I've been called here to do, I need to build a team around me. That can execute that calling. And then you speak that life into your wife, your husband, into the names of the children that you will have. You name them babies in the door what their purpose and outcome on the team gonna be. It's called procreation. You speak it. You speak it. You call it by name. You command it to thrive. Don't nothing evolve. You speak it. You speak life. The power of life and death is in the tongue. The power of life and death. If you won't claim it, if you won't declare it, all you will have is death. If you repeat nothing but death from individuals who have never in their life ever dominated, claimed anything, owned anything, broken any cycles, only talk about nonsense to entertain, practice buffoonery and coonery to entertain. People always want to be entertained, want to be entertained, want to be entertained. The problem is they entertain themselves with buffoonery and coonery. It ain't no problem to be an entertainer. We the first entertainers. He said, be aware, be careful, because many have entertained my angels unaware. He said, when you moving about on your day-to-day, because I want a progress report. I want a progress report on how my return on investment is going. So I send my heavenly auditors to come and take inventory of whether I'm going to get a return or not. And then he said, y'all better be careful, because many have entertained my angel. He said, many have entertained. So when you young people, when you participating in buffoonery and coonery, when you tick-tocking your life away and you're out of time, When you tick-tocking your life away and there's no more time on the clock, understand once the the arc closed, the rain didn't start coming down until the door was closed. They was already out of time before they felt one drop. And they was tick-tocking it up. They tick-tocking. All you doing is tick-tocking, tick-tocking. All the niggas who can't dance, they the niggas who got TikTok. All the niggas who can't dance. Buffoonery and coonery. So some Europeans, like, it's a billion niggas out here who wish they could be like Beyonce. Ain't nothing stopping you from being like Beyonce. From the time that nigga was 6. What you see her do on stage, she was doing every day when she was 6. Y'all don't want to do that. Y'all want to TikTok. Every last one of y'all could be that. The difference between Beyonce and what you covet is work. Is a work ethic. Y'all want to be envious and jealous and covetous when you could put in the same amount of time. No, instead of you getting up, you watching TV, you scrolling on Facebook, you playing video games. You a fan, you a spectator. Then you jealous. They done programmed you to be them. The programmers, the Bill Gates and them. Y'all better look at how they listen, man. All of these little girls especially, they dog y'all so dirty. And y'all still give them y'all life. Y'all still give them y'all attention. They dog y'all so dirty. Take Simone Biles. She's the best gymnast that the world has ever seen. In this fake European world where they claim that they're superior, their kids don't even want to do gymnastics no more. She's so phenomenal. And they sexually abused her. While being sexually abused by USA USA Gymnastics. She still underwent trauma. Now they talk about she under investigation for. These the same people who said they survival of the fittest, only the strong survive. Now the European is coming back and saying we can't. They always been saying we can't. They did the same thing with Florence Griffith Joyner. Her 100-meter world record was so phenomenal that still to this day, she retired and died, and they did an autopsy trying to see if she took performance-enhancing drugs after she was no longer running. What are they saying, yo? They saying they know they never ever been superior. And if y'all keep putting up the numbers that y'all putting up, we won't be able to control the sports and the businesses and the economy because everybody sees that you're way better than us. And our people they're so ignorant. Y'all ain't even smart enough to say with technology, we could bypass these old. They put together the Olympic Games in first Olympic Games is like in 1929. You still got your children dreaming to run for the USA. For what? For nothing? Every one of you last little Negroes, your dream should be, whatever I put my time and effort into, I don't care what it is. I should be wealthy beyond belief before I leave high school. And my children and my children's children should never ever want, if I'm gonna take time to play the flute, I better be a multi-generational billionaire. If you a young person and you still on these stupid philosophies of if I'm gonna put my time and effort into anything, Florence Griffith Joyner put her time and effort because she was God gifted. You God gifted to have dominion. It's only one seed that got dominion, yo. And every other seed is blessed as a result of the dominion that God gave the first seed. They can't covet it. If they want to take it from us, then they take it from themselves. All they're supposed to do is be grateful because our dominion is pressed down, shaken together, and runs over to the other nations, kindreds, tongue, and people. All they're supposed to do is say thank you. Be grateful. When anybody in the world wants to challenge for dominion, those who God created, he said, the first fruits are mine. He ain't say the first, second, third, and fourth. The first fruits are mine. Why? Because when I bless the first fruits, everything comes out of the first fruits. That's called offspring. One is the root, one is the fruit. How the fruit jealous and upset of the root? So when the fruit want to dig up the root, they kill themselves by definition. When you try and dig up the root of why you exist, you no longer exist. Tell that to the European. When you want to replace root, foundation, you have no foundation. The aluminum siding and the trim that makes a house beautiful and makes people want to buy it, that is not the wealth of the house. That is eye candy. The trimming and the nice chandeliers, if your foundation of the house is flawed, the house is worthless. Because the minute a weak wind comes by, that I don't care how beautiful the siding is. If the foundation is flawed, the European premise, the European lie, the European myths are flawed because they have no foundation. The only ones who have a in the beginning start date, you're looking at it. And until the whole world accepts the supernatural truth that all you're supposed to do is be grateful for everything that you got from me. All you're supposed to do is be grateful. There is no style outside of the fashion statement that we create. There is no strength and no power outside of the supernatural power that we wield. There is no beauty. There is no beauty outside of the flawless bar that we have set. And anybody challenging ain't no such thing as culture. There is root and fruit. Every seed brings forth fruit after its own kind. Every seed The first seed was planted, and when it went into the ground, before it comes up, it springs a root. It digs down first before it explodes out of the ground and produces fruit. When the first seed was planted, God didn't plant multiple different seeds. He planted one seed and he gave them a command: be fruitful and multiply and fill the whole earth. And they obeyed. And when you do anything that's not in line with that process, you will not be fruitful. When you buy into any other ideologies, any philosophies, when you buy into any culture or any peoples or any, listen, you by default sever yourself. You by default separate and sever yourself from the supernatural cycle. It's called the layup cycle. Seed time and harvest is a cycle of planting seed, seed taking root, seed sprouting, then harvesting the fruit and the food, eating it, and when you eat the fruit, the new seed to be planted, then the family, they all, after they've eaten and been blessed with the harvest, they take the seeds from the food and it's an endless prosperity cycle, never ending. Seed time, root, sprout, fruit, harvest, sowing. Seed time, take root, sprout, produce fruit, harvest the fruit, eat the bounty that is prosperity. You consume the blessings of prosperity. You don't waste anything. That's why you take the seed when you're consuming it. That's why it's called an everlasting cycle. The wealth of the next generation is in the seed that's in the fruit. You get in two blessings. You get into consume and you get in an investment of future guaranteed wealth. Everything that the European did destroyed all of that. Their crops don't produce annually. You plant their seed because it's they're unnatural people trying to lead and have not been blessed with the knowledge of leadership. And when you chase them, you will forever be ignorant and lost. Let me show you all what an heir and an inheritance looks like. Let me show y'all what an heir and an inheritance looks like. So what you looking at is my firstborn son. What makes him an heir? The line of men that he comes from. What makes this line of men different from other line of men? His great-grandfather, my grandfather, did not allow his family's crown and heritage to be stolen. And when you have families like these, when you have families that still have their heritage and crowns intact, these are future seeds that will be planted. So that means the wife of this prince will receive an upgrade even if her family heritage has been stolen. Even if her family no longer has the knowledge that our family still holds and maintains of their birthright, of their wedding dowry, of their bedrock chain on this man's chest. On this man's chest is the rocks that the kingdom, these are the same rocks that's found in heaven. And God made sure when he created earth and he formed Adam in the dust of the earth, that the same gemstones that he used as the foundation for the heavenly kingdom was all around his son when he created his son in the dust of the earth. He created his son from the very foundation that he built the heavenly kingdom on. And do you know that the sons that are still connected and maintain their heritage with the kingdom of heaven, whenever they reconsecrated and reunited with their covenant, these gemstones, the foundation of heaven gemstones, was used to guide kings in battle, into battle, out of battle, to wells of living water when it was deserts everywhere else, when it was famine all around. Do you know that heaven used gemstones to communicate with the kings? Understand, you are formed from the dust of the ground. The woman is not. The woman is the soul of man. The woman was formed from the heart and soul of man. The woman wasn't formed in the dust of the ground. God put all of the elements that are found in the earth, gold, silver, platinum, iron, in man. And then he took the bone and marrow and the heart and soul of man and formed the womb. He put the precious resources of earth in the flesh and blood of man. Then he took the bone and marrow and heart and soul and created the womb of man, the water of life. Man represents earth. The woman represents water of life. Without the two components, you can never have fruit. When they tell you a woman is Mother Earth, that's why the earth is barren. because you out of order. And if you earth, where the heck is the water coming from? If the woman is earth, where the heck is the water of life coming from? Women, you got to understand that there are priesthoods of men who hate the dowry that heaven has given you, who hate that you are the crown jewel. So everything you are, they claim for themselves, and they build counterfeit pagan priesthoods around the things that God has given exclusively to the woman. And anybody that repeats that trash, anybody who repeats that trash will be barren, will be a wasteland. Just look at the world. They talk about climate change. It ain't no climate change, yo. It's unfruitful people living in ignorance. He said, be fruitful and multiply. The world responds to the lifestyles of those who live in it. It's climate change, yeah. Because our people went from wisdom to ignorance. The moment our people go back to the have lifestyle, the world will respond. Green pastures will spring right back up. The waters will flow back again. Wherever there is desert, it will be Garden of Eden. What they are saying is they don't want to make no adjustment to their death style. And they want you to follow them and always give them permission to keep making the climate of Earth worse and worse and worse. I'm telling you, young people, telling all of y'all, if you are a woman, if you are a young lady, like Simone Biles, who the European world, because she's too great, they're trying to destroy her and discredit her so that they can have an Olympic Games in France. That's your reward for even entertaining amateurs. You shouldn't want to do nothing with Europeans who lie about history. Nothing. You shouldn't want to eat their food. You shouldn't want to do business with them. You shouldn't want to go to their schools. You should want to go into their fashion industries. Europeans that lied and said only the strong survive, and they are the ones going extinct, but they want to bring the whole world down with them. How do you reward a queen who is the best in the world? They reward Michael Jordan. They reward Michael. Don't nobody investigate Michael. Don't nobody investigate LeBron James. They doing the same thing. They doing the same thing to the other girl, Sha'Carri Richards. I'm gonna do her separate. Same thing. She was the best sprinter in the whole United States. They told her she couldn't go to the Olympic Games because nobody in the team could beat her. And what y'all don't understand is The British own Jamaica. They talk about Sha'Carri Richards smoke some weed. The British track team is so garbage that they got to get all of their gold medals from their Pirates of the Caribbean colonies. The European nations of the world practice bigotry. But then when there's a competition on the world stage, everybody in their uniforms are people of color. And they are the ones that said survival of the fittest, only strong survive. Adolf Hitler talk about we are the master race. Yet everybody in their Olympic uniforms are people of color from the colonies around the world. And Jamaica is a British colony. Don't nobody smoke more weed than Jamaica. You mean to tell me that Usain Bolt and all of the Jamaican athletes that have been running and winning championships for years and years and years and been smoking weed, Bob Marley weed all this time. You mean to tell me that Usain Bolt, as soon as an American so-called black girl putting up the same numbers that FloJo was putting up, now all of a sudden they test her for weed and she tests positive, so she can't run in the Olympic Games. You mean to tell me Usain Bolt ain't smoking weed, yo? They done caught Michael Phelps 1,000 times smoking weed. But mysteriously, he never fails during the Olympic Games. This is how y'all let them do our little girls. This is how y'all let the world do the people in the United States of America, the people of color, Kush, in the United States of America. Don't get it twisted. The Africans are not us. They pledge allegiance to the colonies that we defeated. You got to understand, the African nations are still colonized. They didn't win a war against Britain. When Britain came into their nations, they bowed down, and then the British went home and said, send us our cut. The French went into their nations, broke their back, colonized them, and then they said, now we're going back home, and you better send us all of our money. We are the only people of color. They talk about the Haitian Revolution. Listen. The same European nations that we defeated in the Civil War went down and said, if we can't have America, we're going to colonize Haiti. The same black Lafayette nigga from France. France ain't with us. The French-Indian War, the Louisiana the French tried to take the biggest chunk of the land and we slaughtered them clowns. Then when it was all about to be over, they come talk about we the allies of the northern. Man, listen, the French was the first colonies here trying to take all of America, and we crushed them niggas. And so they could try and tell the world they was allies. We fought, we helped America gain it. We're the only people of color in the world that crush Europe. Everybody else is colonies of Europe being used to extract money from the United States of America. That is the only place in the world that crushed the Europeans trying to colonize them. No other place. Haiti followed a French general that we destroyed in the United States of America. Then he goes down to Haiti and says, "Oh, I'm gonna be the prime minister of this island. If I couldn't have Louisiana, I'm gonna take Haiti." Y'all call that independence? And they've been slaves for forever. Y'all call that independence? Haiti is the first. Man, Haiti ain't win nothing. If they follow our example, they'll get free. And if y'all realize that it was nothing but black people in France, that's the story of Haiti that won't none of y'all tell. The nigga Lafayette was a black French nigga, and he went to Haiti and became a Haitian French nigga. France was full of black Sudanese niggas. France was the leading European nation and was full of black, dark, jet black Sudanese niggas. Huh? You missed that story? The same Lafayette that tried to take the United States of America went to Haiti and the Haitians followed him. He was a black dude. All of the French niggas was jet black niggas. So because they said they fought against Spain on the other side of the island, Santo Domingo, they got independence? Lafayette was the French crown, yo. If you and that's why France still controls Haiti to this day, independent. And they do the same thing all over the world. Kenya, independent. Kenya ain't never been independent from Britain. Nigeria got their independence in the night. Them niggas ain't never been independent. All they said was, we no longer want to live in Africa. We want to go back to Europe, but y'all just send the money. That's all. That's their charade of independence. The only people in the world to defeat every British nation. The Italians tried to come to the United States of America in the 1600s to the 1800s. Get the hell out of here. The French tried to come to the United States of America and dominate it. Get the hell out of here. The British, the Dutch, the only people of color in the world. That's why we're the superpower. That's why the world envies us. That's why the world copies us. And then y'all got a nerve to follow anybody. Y'all got a nerve not to stand up when the whole rest of the world is in third world countries because they not us. The whole rest of the world, including Britain, Russia, China, they all third world countries. They got a couple cities where they pulled all of the wealth together so that they could tell a narrative that they're financially, listen, all over China, there's barren land, because they got all of the people in the cities packed up on top of each other so they could have sweat factories and manufacture all of the stuff of the world. But all of China is wide open. All of Russia is wide. They got a couple cities, Moscow. And the people that live in the countryside are listen, it's like they in Jurassic Park. Afghanistan, every last one of these countries, England. They got cities where they run around here masquerading like they rich in the city. But 97% of the population still live worse than they did in Braveheart time. And then all of the rich niggas from their cities come to the United States of America and try and buy up property and try and start businesses to undercut and prevent the people of color in the United States of America from dominating. You will never stop the root from crushing illegitimate fruit. So you young people, I'm gonna play a message from my main man, Eric Thomas. And he talking about a financial principle that the British Crown has used against you to masquerade like they have wealth. And I'm going to take you meticulously for 7 straight days, September 20th through September 27th. And I'm going to teach how you take the financial principles that the Europeans have used against you. And I'm just using ET to let you know that our people have access to this information and should be giving it to our people, but ain't. So the individuals that are blessed by my children, to have my children say I do, the husbands that my daughters say I do too, this is the financial covenant that my daughters bring. Any women that my 2 sons pledge their life to in marriage, this is the financial covenant that my sons bring with them. And this is the financial covenant. This is pro cash flow. Pro cash flow. And every last one of y'all should be this. Every last one of y'all should demand that all adults stop feeding you misinformation and only feed you this. Eric Thomas, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher, loves his children. E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher loves his wife because he has studied to show himself approved unto God. Deuteronomy 14, 22 to 29. Deuteronomy 14, 22 to 29. This is a financial promise that you and your family and your family's family and your children's children and your children's children would not vacation in places like this, but you would own, this is me and my wife. This is me and my wife. Deuteronomy 14 is a promise and a guarantee that you will live this lifestyle, that you will leave this inheritance to your children and your children's children. Deuteronomy 14:22 says, you shall truly tithe all the increase of your seed. Once again, Deuteronomy 14:22. You will truly tithe all the increase of your seed that the field brings forth every year to year. You will truly tithe all the increase of your seed that the field brings forth year after year. What is God telling you? God is saying, I'm going to build in an annual increase in wealth. And to say thank you and to show that you're grateful, the increase of wealth that I let come into your life, whether it's 10 million, 20 million, whatever the increase is from last year to this year, set the increase apart to give tribute to me. Have you ever heard of a tithe, a tribute out of annual increased wealth? That's why you don't have annual increased wealth, because they haven't taught you your financial covenant and blueprint for God to give you increased wealth every year. We're going to teach it to you for 7 days straight. But you got to sign up before September 15th. You got to register. Your email got to be in our database. You got to listen. Everybody. And you will eat before the Lord your God in the place which he will choose to place his name there. Come on, hold on. You will truly tithe all of the increase of your seed that the field brings forth year by year. And you will eat before the Lord your God in the place which he will choose to put his name there. And the tithe of your corn and of your wine and of your oil and the first things of your herds and of your flocks, so you may learn to fear the Lord your God always. So God said, I'm going to bless you. But if you stop bringing the tribute and stop honoring me with your gratefulness, I will turn off the you will be impoverished. And if the way to the place where God has chosen for you to meet him at is too long for you, so that you are not able to carry your tribute. Remember, he's talking to people, some who have corn, some who have wine, some who have olive oil, and then some who have cattle. So he said, don't carry all of the cattle. Don't carry all of the flour. The corn. Don't carry all of the barrels of wine. He said, if it be too far, so that you cannot carry it, or the place be too far from thee, which God has shown you, where his name is in this year, and where you are to meet him, when the Lord your God has blessed you, then you will turn whatever your harvest is into money. Money makers. He said, turn your corn into money. Don't take the corn, take the money to the place God said. This is Deuteronomy 14:29. God has told you to make your own money. Young people, Simone Biles, gymnast. Why would you need Nike to sign you to a contract where God has said, if you're the best gymnast in the world, make your own money. Make your own money. And we're telling you, we've created the exchange where these women have their own currency. They have their own bills. They have their own coins. It's called a wedding dowry. A wedding dowry is the value and the worth of the wife. When you are honored by people on earth, and when you go to get married, both families say this bride is worth this. This is how valuable she is. She's priceless. And because they printed their own money, the father wouldn't get the money. He ain't priceless. That's prostitution. When men take money in exchange for their daughters, that's prostitution. Men all around the world barter and trade and swap their daughters for sex. That's prostitute. They're pimps. The family of the groom comes and gives a dowry to the wife. Says, in exchange for you bringing that priceless womb, and for the children that we know will come from this union, that is of the utmost value to us. And so you are worth $20 billion. And here is your dowry. And the wife is supposed to take that $20 billion and keep her body in tip-top shape, keep her health in tip-top shape, so that when she gives birth to the children aren't sick. The children are just as beautiful as she is, just as healthy as she is. That's what the bride dowry was always created for. And if the way be too long for those, so that you are not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from you, which the Lord God shall choose to set his name there, when the Lord your God hath blessed you, then you will turn it into money and bind up the money in your hand, and you will go to the place that the Lord God has chosen. Deuteronomy 14:26. And you will spread love or give that money for whatsoever your soul desires. You will spend that money on whatsoever your soul desires, and you will take the tithe, the increase. You made 10 additional $1 million this year. And you will take that increase. You will turn it into money, and you will go and you will spend that money on whatsoever your soul desires. You could buy oxen, or buy sheep, or buy wine, whatever your soul desires. For whatsoever your soul desires, and you will eat there before the Lord your God. And you will rejoice, you and your whole house. Today I'm going to show y'all that you can make your own money. Football players, basketball players, volleyball players, artists, designers. You can make your own money, and you're already worth your weight in gold. We just want to help you extract it. What is God saying? So let me understand. Let me teach you why. To churches, this text about tithing was so dangerous. Not to you, the regular people who go to churches, but to the Roman Catholic Church and the Church of England, these established churches that desire to control the world. The reason that churches have never taught you Deuteronomy 14, I believe, once again, I'm just telling you what I believe. The reason they haven't taught you Deuteronomy 14 is because they're still pledging their allegiance to these kingdoms that have sworn to kill you. And they know that if you learn Deuteronomy 14, financially, you'll never accept subjugation. You'll never accept slavery and bondage. Deuteronomy says Deuteronomy 14 is telling everybody in the nation, in the year that I bless you, even if it's just $1,000, bring the whole $1,000 to wherever the place where I said to meet me at. And when you get there, buy whatever your heart desires. When you get to the place where you're going to meet me at, it's a 7-day feast. This text is describing an annual festival, the last harvest of the year. It's called the Feast of Emmanuel, the Feast of God dwelling with us. And September 20 through the 27th, we're going to do our first public Feast of Emmanuel. We invite anybody to join us. Because what happens is when everybody brings their money, when you're buying whatever you want, everybody leaves there rich. So, y'all come check me out all day today, yo. We're going to consecrate and coronate. Consecration goes along with transformation. Coronation goes with uplifting transfiguration. Consecration goes with transformation, meaning setting free. Going from bondage to freedom, transformation. Coronation is the Most High uplifting transfiguration. It's launching. If I be lifted up, I will draw all men. It's a launching. Transfiguration. That's what the consecration is. It's the launch. Consecration is the jailbreak. It's the paroled. Paroled and perfect fit. Consecration is paroled. Coronation is flawless, perfect fit. Consecration is dazzling, paroled. Dazzling, parole fit. It's nothing like the first fit when you set free. When you've been in bondage, when you've been in the pen, when you've been in the cage, it's nothing like putting on the very first freedom fit. Paroled freedom fit. Transformers, paroled freedom fit. That's what consecration does for you. And then coronation is greater than NASA launch. It's greater than the U.S. Navy launchings. Greater than any launch you could think of, because it's the launch of the narrow way. That's the transfiguration. Walk in the cloud, launch of the narrow way. So that's what we're going to get to our people today.